There's no doubt that Discovery's Fast and Loud was one of the network's most successful car-centered reality TV shows. That being said, besides the excellent car restorations and entertaining endeavors of its cast, one of the definitive reasons the show was so popular from its beginning can be pinpointed to Richard Rawlings and Aaron Kaufman's dynamic, and how everything apparently worked out well when these two teamed up. However, the audience's joy of seeing the fan favorite Kaufman on screen ended when he exited the series in 2017, leaving more questions than answers upon his departure. Now that several years have passed since then, it's time that all the questions surrounding Rawlings and Kaufman's relationship, the reasons for his exit, and their current endeavors are answered. Keep with us to know all. Despite how much fans like to know more about the off-camera endeavors of their favorite reality TV stars, the audience are actually told the entire truth very few times about what happens behind the scenes. When it comes to Aaron Kaufman and Richard Rawlings, we can only have an idea of what really made them drift apart professionally through their own words. As Kaufman told Art of Gears in early 2017, one of the reasons he left Rawlings' business, Gas Monkey Garage, and the show associated with it, had to do with his unconformity with the builds featured in it, and the pressure to adjust both time and budget-wise to TV's demands, on top of some growing personal issues and professional differences of opinions. Whether those aforementioned problems were directly related to his former boss is unclear, but Rawlings himself confirmed that things had been difficult leading up to Kaufman's exit. He was unhappy because he had these other ideas, and I was unhappy because he was unhappy, which makes everything else miserable, he told D Magazine in 2018. While there's apparently no bad blood between the men, they haven't publicly worked together since Kaufman's exit from Gas Monkey Garage in 2017. One of the most common questions when it comes to Aaron and Richard is the nature of their personal relationship prior to Aaron's exit from the show. However, much to the dismay of diehard fans of both men, they were apparently never friends to begin with. In a 2018 interview with D Magazine, Rawlings directly addressed this issue by saying, "He was just my employee from the time he was 20 until 2 years ago, 14 years. But we didn't hang out outside of work." As Kaufman said in the same interview, he and Rawlings' personal differences allegedly made them incompatible. "The deal is, I see the world very much differently than Richard does. I see how we interact with humans differently, what relationships with people are worth." While it might be disappointing to know that Kaufman and Rawlings weren't ever friends, despite sharing a workplace and TV screen for so many years, their personal statements regarding this topic not only shed some light on the reasons leading to Kaufman's exit from Gas Monkey Garage, but also lets us see that taking separate ways was an inevitable conclusion to their acquaintanceship. While it's certain that Aaron Kaufman's resignation from Gas Monkey Garage was partially caused by interpersonal problems, the main reason he left was his desire for professional fulfillment. Regarding this topic, Aaron opened up about his dissatisfaction with the projects featured in Fast and Loud in an interview with Art of Gears in early 2017. According to him, the project in the episode Hot Off the Pantera was the bottom end of the builds he wanted to work on, due to the limitations and pressure which ensued for him and his team professionally. The difficulty level of the car, it surpasses what can be done on TV in time and budget, he stated, emphasizing how adjusting to demands from producers were distancing him from his own creative path. "I wanted to build cars that were big or bigger, and then TV needed cars that were much smaller than that." Finding himself dissatisfied with the route Fast and Loud projects were taking, Aaron established his own business, ArcLight Fabrication, with which he provided technical service and parts for Ford trucks. Despite the fans' disappointment at not seeing him working in Gas Monkey Garage anymore, Aaron's then new project was warmly welcomed by them. It might be a while since Aaron Kaufman set foot on a TV screen, but life is looking great for him nonetheless. Nowadays, he's quite active in the automotive world with his racing escapades. As in 2022, Aaron joined Pikes Peak International Hill Climb in Broadmoor, Colorado. Being a Ford guy through and through, it's not surprising that Aaron drove an F100 truck, modified and usually driven by Scott Birdsall, who has been holding the competition's time record since 2019. That being said, this was Aaron's fourth time in the competition, having his best performance back in 2014 behind the wheel of a 1963 Ford Falcon, which gained him second place in the exhibition class. While Aaron is proud of having accomplished a great deal in racing, his focus is still in the mechanics industry. Though it's unknown if his shop ArcLight Fabrication is still up and running, moving to Colorado has turned out well for Aaron, as his social media lets us see he's attracting sponsorships from brands, spends a good deal of time racing, and even made his return to Specialty Equipment Market Association, SEMA, in late 2022. For now, it's unclear what the future has in store for Aaron, but it's evident how pleased he is currently by walking his own path, doing the things he loves. The initial idea for ArcLight fabrication was very clear. As he explained in a 2017 video for The Lowlife Show on YouTube, Aaron and his associate Jonathan Mansauer wanted to fill the gap of available parts for Ford F-100 models from 1957 to 1979. As seen in his show Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman, he made good of his promise by focusing on Ford trucks, improving their performance in order to make every project worthy of races such as the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. Following the show's end in 2018, ArcLight Fabrication maintained its focus on high-performance projects, and as seen during an interview with Kaufman on the YouTube channel Ford Era, the business was still up and running in late 2021. It's unclear if Aaron's move to Colorado in 2022 meant the end of ArcLight. Although the shop's social media and YouTube channel remain inactive since 2020, to date, Aaron hasn't announced a business relocation or permanent closing. Anyone who's been following Aaron Kaufman's projects over time knows that he's truly passionate and dedicated to his profession, but his love for everything automotive doesn't come out of nowhere. According to an interview Aaron gave to Restamod Films in December 2021, his father worked on hot rods and drag cars for a long time, but eventually left the business once his children were born. Nonetheless, Aaron remembers attending car shows with his father in his early childhood, a great start for what would become his biggest passion during high school, when he used his limited knowledge modifying car parts for his personal enjoyment. Barely in his mid-teens, Aaron joined his friend Scott McMillan Jr.'s family building shop, learning there all the basics of the construction profession such as welding and lathing. Once he achieved a high success rate with the projects, he leveled up by being hired by a local air suspension shop, ultimately leaving a couple of years down the road to start his own shop. Although Aaron Kaufman was always inclined to become a car builder, there was a time he thought that the academic route was for him. According to an interview with his friend Scott McMillan Jr. gave D Magazine in 2018, he and Aaron met in high school when their passion for automotives was the fuel to modify their first Jeep Cherokee with only self-learned skills. Once the completion of their Cherokee, McMillan and Kaufman took on other projects by themselves, and sometimes traveled across the country to attend car shows. It was during these years that Aaron was hired by a suspension service shop. College time came sooner rather than later, and both friends enrolled into the University of Texas, though they abandoned it after only one semester, despite doing well academically. After we realized we were going to be in debt, and we already knew more than the average person, we started our own business, as McMillan said. Their joint association soon ended though, as obtaining financial support for their business wasn't easy due to their young age. While McMillan eventually joined the US Marines, in the early 2000s, Aaron was hired by Richard Rawlings to work on his cars, as they traveled the country together for automotive shows. Meeting Richard Rawlings was definitely game-changing for Aaron Kaufman, as he affirmed to Restamod Films. Rawlings had a clear vision of what he wanted from the beginning of their acquaintanceship. He wanted to be on TV. He wanted to be famous. He wanted to have this big hot rod shop stuff. I thought it was pie in the sky, he said. Despite thinking Rawlings' plan was unlikely to succeed, Aaron went on board his project, splitting his time working in Gas Monkey Garage, attending car shows all over the country, and filming a pilot for a show which never came to life. According to Aaron, Gas Monkey Garage eventually closed, and he was hired by another shop. A couple of years later, he was contacted again by Rawlings, who convinced him to film another pilot which was immediately given the green light by Discovery. That was the start of Fast and Loud, in which Aaron appeared from its debut in 2012 until 2017, when its 12th season aired. Later in 2018, Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman aired on Discovery for 2 seasons, followed by a second TV project, Aaron Needs a Job, which premiered in 2019 but only lasted 1 season before Aaron left the world of entertainment altogether. Although Fast and Loud is definitely Aaron Kaufman's most popular TV project to date, it certainly wasn't his first exploit in the industry. Back in 2005, he debuted in an episode of the popular hot rod-centered show Overhaulin', an appearance he repeated a couple of times in the following years, and throughout the next decade in documentaries such as A Tribute to David Zaslav, Biketacular, and The Gymkhana Files. Given all his experience in the industry, It might be surprising for his fans to learn that Aaron was hesitant to return to TV following his exit from Gas Monkey Garage. According to his interview with Art of Gears, Aaron was offered a new show right after leaving Fast and Loud, but he wasn't quite on board for a variety of reasons. "If I do it, I want to be ecstatic about it. I want to be very proud of the program and the parts that I make," he said, also stating that he wanted his next TV builds to be driven by imagination and excitement, and not by money. Though the initial premise of his shifting gears was definitely too similar to what he did in his previous project, Aaron eventually achieved his goal when the show evolved to follow his passion for high-performance trucks. After 8 years and 16 seasons on air, Fast and Loud came to an end in 2020, much to the dismay of its fans. The news was announced by Richard Rawlings in a Joe Rogan Experience podcast episode aired late that year, in which he explained that he'd already achieved everything he wanted with the show, and wanted to start a new chapter in his professional life. "It was time for me to expand and grow a little bit," he affirmed. While the news expectedly took the show's fans by surprise, Richard and his team didn't stay away from the spotlight for too long. Although Gas Monkey Garage's account on YouTube has been active since 2012, in 2021 the channel increased their audience by producing original content centered on cars and everything fans loved about Fast and Loud, but with a more personal and less TV-ish approach. Although many people miss seeing Rawlings and Kaufman together on TV, the fact that both of them are doing well on their separate, subsequent journeys surely brings joy to their fans. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.